Disclaimer. The following episode contains spoilers for Luke Cage Season 2. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned. Welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of Place to Hang Your Cape. And this week, sweet Christmas, it's Luke Cage Season 2. Cue the music. Hello there, Capers, and welcome to PodCapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. My name's Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special different guest. Now, it's a tradition on this show that whenever we talk about the Netflix MCU Marvel shows, I am joined by Mark Russell, so here he is once again, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Russell!
Hi, everybody. I think I skipped out on Jessica Jones Season 2 review, didn't I?
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. We had
Yeah, so I might not always be here.
Well, traditions are made to be broken, but the point is we've done it quite a bit. We started with Iron Fist, and oh, how far we've come since then.
Yes, even though that's probably the next one down the line. Oh dear.
Yeah, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe change is on the horizon. Oh, we've got a lot to talk about. Jeez. Now, a couple of things you need to know, Capers. First of all, summer has arrived at the UK, which means that we are all melting. Oh, melting. So we're a bit hot, so our equipment might be running a bit hotter than usual, so you may hear a bit of background noises, a bit of fans due to windows being open or machinery exploding. Pay it no mind, it's fine.
Yes, we'll endure. Because we're all going on a summer holiday.
Doing things we always want to do.
Watching Luke Cage and hopefully waiting for Ant-Man and Wasp to come out. Something.
It's gonna be a great show for me and you for a season or two. Anyway,
because it's Luke Cage Season 2 or something like that. No, we're not exactly imperios of writing our songs, are we?
No, we've got a history of that stuff. But the point is, Luke Cage Season 2. Mark, did you binge?
I did. I said I wouldn't do it again, because Defenders, those 8 episodes, I was fine, I could do them one day. Like, right, that's it, no more. I will do Punisher and Jessica Jones over a number of days, did that. Luke Cage, watched the whole thing in one day. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I couldn't because I had jobs and stuff to do. I had other priorities, but I still managed to watch it over a period of a couple of days. It's really not that long. It came out Friday.
Yes.
So this is probably the quickest turnaround we've had for an episode, but still, and there's so much to talk about. Now, just to remind the Keepers, what did we think of Luke Cage Season 1?
Loved it.
Loved it too! Yeah, it's, Luke Cage, I've loved the character for a long time. I started reading him. I never read, Luke Cage solo comics, but I read him, New Avengers and stuff like that, and I really liked the character. And to see him on screen was really, really cool, and I thought the show was great. I really liked it when it was introduced in Jessica Jones Season 2. I thought it was pretty damn good. I didn't like the fact that they kind of switched villains halfway through. It's like, oh, we had Cottonmouth, and then, oh, he's gone, we'll forget about him. Now, there's this new guy, Diamondback. Meanwhile, Mariah Dillard / Stokes is sort of playing both sides and going on in the background and stuff like that. And so it was different, but it didn't really appeal to me. But you know what? It didn't make the show bad. I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. I thought the characters were interesting. And I looked forward to see more of them. And we've seen more of them in Season 2. I think we'll just get started talking about it, shouldn't we?
Let the spoilers commence.
Yes, I mentioned spoilers in the beginning. And obviously, there will be quite a bit. Now, it picks off where Defenders left off, with Luke Cage. He's become a bit of a celebrity now, hasn't he? He's become a sort of a local hero. He's, still putting the putting the hurt on local gangsters and local criminals, but now the people love him, and it's just like everyone's like, "Oh, we like that bit of that Luke Cage," and it helps that his friend DW, who every time they mentioned his name always made me think of the character from Arthur. I'm sorry, you can't call someone DW and not make me think, "Hey, DW, hey."
Or it's Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck.
I am the terror of Harlem that flaps in the night.
Oh god, yeah, and that was where my heart's going to. But what DW is doing, he's making some money through merchandising and this app called the Harlem Hero app, which somehow tracks Luke Cage's presence throughout Harlem, and I don't get how it's able to do that.
Maybe it's face recognition or something like that.
Maybe, or just like people posting pictures wherever he goes, but I mean,
maybe. Perhaps, I don't know.
Probably not the most reliable thing in the world.
Or someone snuck a tracker onto his back of his head or something.
Yeah, I think we know that he's bald, Mark.
Exactly. They stuck it to the back of his head, like because he doesn't have to cut his hair. Everyone has to run his hand over it, so he doesn't notice.
I'm pretty sure other people. I think he knows a giant.
It's in his shoe. Maybe it's in his shoes. I don't know.
I don't know. But he's just going around doing things, and he's trying to get rid of these drugs that are going around that are called Luke Cage, and because he's not a happy bunny about that. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what he's doing. He's selling pops. He's moving away from that because he's become a bit too much of a target. And he's just hanging out with DW and Bobby Fish, and occasionally speaking with Misty Knight, who since Defenders is now Sans an Arm, and is not too happy about it. Can't say I blame her.
She is now just the one arm of the law.
As opposed to the long arm of the law, indeed. And however, she's going through her. The hits keep on coming from Misty, because it turns out that her partner Scarf from season 1 sent a bunch of criminals to prison. Approximately, what was it like? How many was it?
30
criminals to prison, and they've all now been released because he was corrupt, and so they all got thrown out. I guess every single one of these 30 criminals had like 30 good lawyers, or maybe it was like one whole big trial thing. I don't know. But so a bunch of them getting out, and she's not very happy about that. One person who should be happy is Claire Temple. She's back! Rosario Dawson is back, because he can't do a single one of these shows without Rosario Dawson not turning up. And she's still with Luke, and I'm still counting down the days until their inevitable breakup, because he's obviously going to get with Jessica Jones, because comics, and I think if that didn't happen, eventually people would. I mean, I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, yes, I would like to see these two characters together, but on the other hand, it is a TV show. It's separate from the comics, and the individual characters played by individual actors that are going to have individual different sort of chemistry, and not the chemistry between Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Mike Coulter and
other people.
Who plays Jessica Jones? Fucking hell! What's the wrong with me?
Oh God, is it Kristen Ritter?
Kristen Ritter, that was it. Completely a mind blank. What's wrong with me? Isn't good. But the point is, I don't think they should be obligated to make these two characters get together, because that might work, but might backfire horribly, horribly wrong. But on the other hand, like, that looks like where it might be going, so who knows? But anyway, the point is, Claire and Luke are together, and everything seems to be going pretty good. Mariah Dillard and Shades is...
Yay. We like Shades.
We do like Shades. It's partly because he's played so well by Theo Rossi from Sons of Anarchy. Have you ever watched Sons of Anarchy?
I can't say I have, but I do like him.
I've seen a couple of seasons. I'm still making my way through it. What happens is, like, I watch a season, I get tired of it, I leave it alone. I come back to it. I watch a season, I get tired of it, I leave it alone. And I've just been doing that for years. And
I do quite the opposite. I say, let's watch the whole thing. I get bored, like, halfway through season 2. Say, right, I'll leave it for now, come back later.
Yeah, it's a problem. But he's a very good actor, and he plays his character. This character could easily be very, very, very annoying and kind of not make any impression at all, because he's kind of stoic and kind of reserved at times, but Thea Rossi brings this like intensity and this slyness and this soulfulness that just really makes the character stand out. And he's got great chemistry with what's her face? I don't want to mispronounce her name. Alfre Woodard. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce her name, but I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. Do you know how to pronounce her name?
I'm not going to try. I don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you wouldn't. It's like with any name. If you see it written down, you might think, "Oh, I know how to say that," and then you say it, and people get it wrong. I wouldn't know anything about that, though. Try pronouncing Meriju without having heard it. Oh God. But anyway, and they are. Mariah and Shades are such a power couple. They really are. You know, it's a classic love story. You know, guy meets girl, guy and girl set up criminal enterprise together. It's a love story for the ages. It really is.
Yeah, it's really sweet. They throw a guy off a roof. They smash another guy out a window. You know, that sort of thing. Real Romeo and Juliet type thing going on.
Tale as old as time, indeed. And they're trying to expand. They're looking to I can't remember. Is it sell guns? Oh no, it's sell, get rid of the guns. They're trying to. They're trying to drugs or guns or whatever. I wasn't really paying attention. Because basically just MacGuffins, and they're trying to sort of make a lot of money and go legit.
Well, at least Mariah is. Shades just come like, well, Shades.
Yeah, Shades is just kind of like Shades. And they're talking to a couple of people, a couple of drug smugglers, and this one guy, Nigel, who's part of this Jamaican gang. And,
it's like the most intimidating name, Nigel.
Nigel, yeah, I know. It's like...
Nigel Thornberry here. I'm here to sell drugs.
Marianne, we've got to establish our own criminal enterprise.
Stop the combat.
Lord Nelson's trousers, it's Luke Cage.
Oh dear.
I will never recreate that voice as long as I live. Tim Curry cannot be replicated.
They should. Where is he? We need him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, really.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
I'm sure Tim Curry would be great in the Marvel Universe, but I mean, given his current
yes, it could. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it might be tricky, but you never know. I certainly would like to see him in more stuff. And what was I going to say? Hold on, one second.
How we always go so off the place? We always jump all over the place, don't we?
Yeah, I know, but the point is,
Nigel,
and Luke Cage is basically trying to stop all this from happening, and I can't remember who it was, but basically Luke Cage gets caught into a trap with this guy.
Arturo, I think so. I think Arturo is the one.
El Rey is include all sorts of references to King Arthur and stuff, and he's basically caught in a trap. And this guy blows Luke the fuck up, except he doesn't because he walks out of the burning lorry with just like singed clothes, and he's just like, cause he's a fucking badass. But then he gets the Judas bullets from season 1. This one thing that can stop Luke. And it doesn't stop him because thanks to his getting his powers back in season 1, he's now even more indestructible than he was before. You thought he was indestructible, but now he's just like totes indestructible. He's indestructible to the max. And this leads to some interesting ideas later in the season. This whole idea of he's indestructible, and so he can't get hurt, or can he? And it's interesting on a thematic level throughout the season. It's the whole power corrupts thing going on.
Yeah, because he's like, you can't break me and you can't burn me and you'll never be able to beat me. And they're like, yeah, physically. What about emotionally?
What about mentally? Indeed. And another player arrives in the scene. This guy called John McIver from Jamaica, also known as Bushmaster.
Yeah.
And
is Bushmaster a snake?
A Bushmaster, okay, in the comics there were two Bushmasters. John McIver, who was an enemy of Luke Cage in the early days and was really good at street fighting, similar to in this show. And then there was his brother, Quincy McIver, who got like a robot body or something that had like a prehensile tail that was vaguely snake-like and big like sword coming out of his arms, I think. I don't know. So, I don't know, because, I mean, like we already did the snake thing in season 1 with Cottonmouth, so... I don't know. Who knows?
But I always assumed Black Mariah was like a pun on Black Mamba or something like that.
I don't know. I don't know too much about that character from the comics. Like I said, I had never read any solo of any of the early Luke Cage stuff. So it's tricky to, but I think it doesn't really matter. The point is we're looking at this interpretation and trying to accept them for what they are. We can compare them to the comics till the cows come home, and I certainly would do. Fucking Ghost Rider! But anyway. Oh, God. Anyway, and this Bushmaster guy, not only is he, like, he's got moves. He's really good at the fighting, and could even survive gunshots. Like, who is this guy? What is he? What is his thing? And it turns out he's come from Jamaica to take Harlem away from who? From Luke Cage? No, from Mariah. What's his beef with Mariah? So he's got so much beef with her that he doesn't call her Dillard. He calls her Stokes. Mariah Stokes. What's going on there? And it turns out the plot thickens when he visits this holistic herb hippie doctor, Tilda, to get ingredients for this thing that he uses to get his strength and heal his wounds and be able to survive bullets. And it turns out that Tilda Johnson is also Mariah's estranged daughter. Bum 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 bum. No. Bum 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 bum.
We're out of sync.
Yeah, for those of the people who have no idea what we're talking about EastEnders, popular British soap. This is what it is. This is soap opera. Oh my God, I have an estranged daughter that I haven't talked to in ages. It's so soap opera. But, having said that, the relationship between Mariah and Tilda is one of the best in this season.
Hell yeah!
It is the issues these two have and the way these two actors act opposite each other and counteract each other. It's phenomenal. It gets harrowing later on, and it's such an interesting and complicated relationship. Because basically, Damara is told that, hey, if you get your daughter back into your life, it's going to be really good publicity-wise because, she's trying to establish her public persona as being good for Harlem when actually she's just another criminal. And it goes places. We'll talk about that more as we go on. This is another reason why she's selling the gun business, because she wants to... She would just go legit. She basically just wants to go legit and still be powerful and everything and have all the money, but not have the feds on her at every avenue.
Even though she gets arrested 5 times a season.
Yeah, she gets arrested a lot. She's not. There's the thing about Mariah is very good character. She's not very good at the thing she does, and every time she thinks she's on top, and every time she does get on top, it partially feels like luck and the work of other people. It doesn't feel like it's her machinations,
Yeah.
Because let me put it this way: she's no Littlefinger.
That is true.
Yeah, it's.
They didn't do it. Yeah.
Still an interesting character. Still a very interesting character, and still interesting relationship with Shades and the couple of new characters we introduced, including this one guy, Cockroach, who is a
cockroach.
No, he's not a literal cockroach.
Might as well be.
Might as well be. Well, let me put it this way. He's a fucking shithead. Yeah,
exactly. That's why I said he should be a cockroach, because he's a cockroach.
Metaphorically speaking.
Yes, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, okay. I you know me. I'm pedantic.
Yes.
And he's a horrible person. He beats his girlfriend and his son, and which causes Misty no end of consternation. And he's even able to kind of injure Luke by shooting him at close range with this high-powered shotgun, which sort of dislocates his shoulder. And this leads to Claire getting really antsy about the whole superhero thing, despite the fact that she's been around so many superheroes by now, you think she'd be used to it. But she's basically... There's two angles to this whole thing. So Claire, on the one hand, really wants to help Luke and make sure he's safe, but also make sure he's out of danger, and this I get. But a newcomer comes to town, Luke's estranged father, James Lucas. bum 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 bum. Again, there's so many estranged family members in this show. There really is.
Yeah.
And Lucas Senior is he's a reverend, and he's quite judgmental. And he and Luke have not a very good relationship at this point in the season. And Claire's decides to get right in the fucking middle of that and try and get them together, despite the fact that she knows very little about the nature of the relationship, and just automatically assumes that Luke will be better with his father in his life, which might be true, but might not be true. And I get the whole her wanting to help Luke angle. I severely detested the whole her nosing into his relationship with his dad angle, because it just makes her look like she's just butting in where her help is not needed or indeed wanted. And it's like I really object to this whole idea that just because someone is a family member, you ought to have them in your life, because that, I'm just being honest, that is bullshit. Because there are people in your life who may be family members, and I count myself lucky that this isn't the case for me, but there are people in your life who may be family members who should not be in your life, who are dead weight, who are horrible to you, who might even be abusive. And just because they're family does not mean that they have special privileges to be in your life, or that they even deserve to be in your life in any way, shape, or form. Now, if they're good people and they're nice and they're supportive and they're loving, then great, sure, absolutely. And not every estranged relationship should continue to be estranged. Not every estranged family member should be shunned and locked out of your life. But just because they're family members does not mean that they are automatically deserving of being in your life. I think this is whole, like, because just because you're born into a family does not make those people special. What makes people special is how they treat you and how they look after you and how they integrate themselves into your life. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 thing. That guy may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. That's my stance on it. And for her to automatically assume that it would be better for them to be together is just based on nothing, as far as I can see. It's just kind of disrespectful.
Well, I agree. I mean, the Claire shouldn't have tried to force them together, because his dad did a lot of terrible things, which admittedly...
Do you want to know what the terrible things he did? When Luke was put in jail for a crime he didn't commit, he basically disowned him, and then when his mum got cancer, he blamed Luke for his mother getting cancer, which doesn't even make any sense. Like, how could him being in prison give her cancer or make her cancer worse? Like, I don't get that. And then after she died, wouldn't talk to him at all. Like that, he was a douche. He was completely a douche, not to mention the fact that he lied to Luke and his brother Willis about the nature of their relationship, which in some small part way, well, actually, no, but in a big way, contributed to Willis growing up to become Diamondback.
Yeah, way to go, genius.
Yeah, this guy, it was awful. It was awful.
It doesn't help that he's a vicar either, so he's supposed to be the personification of goodness and right, and he's done a lot of screw-ups.
Yeah, and it's... yeah, exactly.
You done messed up, boy.
He did. He messed up. And Luke is really, really not willing to give him another chance. However, Tilda is. And this is the interesting... where it gets kind of interesting, because over the course of the season, Luke and his dad's relationship does get better, and they do reconcile. Meanwhile, Tilda and her mother's relationship starts off a bit uneasy, but okay, gets a little bit better, and just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Takes a nosedive off the ugly tree and hits the branch all the way down.
Exactly, and it's an interesting parallel. It's an interesting juxtaposition between the two relationships. However, it does lead to what I think is one of this season's biggest problems, which is characters and their motivations change at the flick of a switch for seemingly no reason. Sometimes there are reasons, other times there's not. Like Luke Cage and his dad, they just... it doesn't happen immediately, I guess, but it does get better to a slightly slightly unrealistic level. Like let me put it this way: second episode, they were like, "I hate you, I hate you." Like last time we see him in his dad, it's just like, "I love you, son. I love you too, dad. Ah, best friends for life." And yeah, there's a lot of time between those two things, but I don't think the relationship could have developed in such a brisk way. I don't know, maybe not.
No, I agree, because by the end of it, at the start, they're like, I hate you, but by the end of it, they're like 100% got 100% better relationship. There's no hint of discourse or disagreement. It's like, they're just like...
It's
hey,
like nothing happened. It's like nothing happened.
Yeah,
and, and relationships don't work like that. People who are estranged can reconcile, can get back together, but those underlying issues still remain, and you can work on them and get better in your relationship. But there are no easy fixes, and you know, even good relationships are going to have some stuff that comes up every now and again.
I suppose if there was to be a continuation of the relationship, that obviously can't happen now because Reggie Carvey's passed away, hasn't he?
Sadly, yes, the actor playing Luke Cage's dad did pass away. This was one of his, if not his actual, last performance. It's a posthumous release. The series is dedicated to him, which I thought was a very nice thing to do. And I should mention, like, it was a Reggie Cathy, did you say?
I think it's pronounced Reggie Cathy.
He was really, really, really good in this series. Like, yeah, I didn't buy the development of the relationship, but his performance and his chemistry with Mike Coulter was brilliant. And I thought he was really good. And I'm really sorry that I'm not going to see him anymore. I'm really sorry that he's about his tragic passing. But as you say, it just means we're not going to see the relationship develop anymore. But who knows? Maybe this will provide a bit more of an impetus for Luke going forward in season 3. It's just a shame that happened. And I think it more than makes up for Fan Full Stick.
Yes, yes. I will clap invisibly to that. No pun intended.
Yeah, because because let's be honest, like he plays a dad of a superhero in that movie and a dad of a superhero in this season.
Oh my god,
the difference between these two.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but anyway, we're.
He was like the one good thing in Fan Full Stick.
Was there even Was he really?
Well, the one thing I enjoyed out of that film, the one thing.
Oh, fair enough then. But anyway, and what happens next? Basically, going back to Cockroach, Cage and Misty find out that he's beating his wife, his girlfriend and his son, and Luke goes over to his apartment and just kicks the crap out of him. And this means that Cockroach sues him.
Yeah.
Which makes so much sense. Like, in our world that we live in today, you can't, superpowers or no, you can't go into someone's house, even if you know they're beating up their girlfriend, and just kick the crap out of them. And he gets, fined, $100,000.
Yeah, I think the only time I've actually seen something like that is The Incredibles.
Yeah, but it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, why has no one else done that? Because there was that weird lady in Jessica Jones trying to kill her because her mom died in the incident, and why not just sue her? Why not just sue the Avengers? Do something like that.
Yeah, you could never sue the Avengers though, because if they hadn't done what they would have done, then all of New York would have gone boom bye bye.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe some sort of post. Someone would try to sue them anyway. Hey, they saved the city. Well, let's sue them. No, we're going to sue them.
Yeah, but it would never work. But it could work in this scenario. Yeah. And Knight manages to get him off the scene when he beats Cockroach. Managed to get him before. These two new characters arrive. Mark Bailey, police officer, and Nandy Tyler, who does everything in her power to make the audience hate her.
I don't like characters like that. You shouldn't make characters who just I'm there to be a jerk ass, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but the same thing is I kind of get where she's coming from, because a lot of characters sort of call Misty out on her behavior, which is she just does whatever the fuck she wants and acts all high and mighty about it. And I kind of agree. I like the character of Misty. I like the character. I thought she's very well done, very well written, very well performed. But there are times when I just kind of wish like someone would just put her aside and just say, what you're doing is kind of wrong. Like, because she has such a temper on her. That's the thing. She has such a temper. And like, when the minute things stop going her way, she just assumes that everyone's out to get her and that everyone is doing something wrong. And it happened in the first season of Luke Cage and in Defenders. And don't get me wrong, I like the character. I like a lot of the things she does. Sometimes, however, she just kind of gets on my wick. And she gets on the wick of the new captain. Another new character, written out with a new captain at a precinct. And he says, I ought to suspend you, but I can't because you did great stuff at Midland Circle, and you've lost an arm, and you come back to work and everything, and so I can't fire you. And she's like, well, shit, what are we going to do now then? He's just like, well, to keep doing what you're doing, I guess, because we can't stop you. And it's just like, meh! But it does lead to her trying to live with the fact that she's got one arm. And she does that with the help of Colleen.
We like Colleen.
We do like Colleen. One of the few redeeming things about Iron Fist season 1. And the characters know each other from the comics, and they have a lot of good friendship in the comics. They have great friendship in the show as well. The chemistry between these two characters. I wish we'd see more of them. Like, you know what I want to see? You know what I want to see? I want to see Misty and Colleen spin-off show.
They're going to do that anyway. They have to at some point.
I don't know if they have to. That's the thing, you see. They might not. And they might just stick them as supporting characters. And they do work as supporting characters. And they're fine as supporting characters. I would love to see these two people in their own show. I think that would be great, but, you know, I so rarely get what I want.
I know, but I like to remain optimistic. They might, out of all the supporting characters, they might give Colleen and Misty their own spin-off. I highly doubt, God damn it, Trish is going to get her own.
Yeah. I mean, I like Trish. I don't think Trish is going to get her own. We're never going to get a Hellcat series, I don't think.
Nah.
But anyway, and what happens this leads to a great fight scene with Colleen sort of standing off whilst Misty beats the crap out of these guys that were being really aggressive in this bar, and she does it with one arm.
Yeah.
And it means that Colleen and Danny Rand off screen, because we're not going to see him this season, offering her a bionic arm, which is what happens in the comics. And she's now got a fucking bionic arm. And I've seen like videos of people, actual real life people with prosthetics that are very highly advanced. So the great thing about this is that it's actually not too far out of the realms of possibility.
No, it's right. I mean, this is slightly more realistic than the whatever the hell he used to fix Rhodey's back.
Yeah, with those mechanical legs and stuff, and it does help that Danny Rand has his own company, which is basically equivalent to Stark. And
I do like the running gag where he keeps buying everything out.
Yeah.
By the way, Danny now owns this place. Wait, what?
Yeah, but okay, it's really, really cool, and I think it would have probably been a bit too expensive for them to I don't know how they do. They just get rid of Misty's arm for the whole season. So yeah, she's got a bionic arm now, and it's fucking badass.
Yeah, it's no, I can't think of a pun for that. Moving on.
Yeah, and sadly, however, one thing that is less badass is the argument between Claire and Luke. Because he's getting kind of angry about a lot of stuff, and she's not really willing to budge on her issues. And it ends up with him like putting a hole in the wall, and she's like, yeah, I'm fucking not tolerating that, I'm out. Which I completely 100% agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell they're just doing it just to get Rosario Dawson out of the show because they can't have her every episode due to, I don't know, scheduling or money. I don't know what it is. But they need to get her out. But as far as, like, there are lots of reasons they could have come up with for her leaving. And this is one that I completely agree with. It makes pure sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Although, was the fact that she lived in a abusive household ever brought up before? I don't remember that.
Possibly. I'm not willing to go through like all of Daredevil and Luke Cage before. Like, no. But we'll take a word for it. We'll take a word for it.
Yes. But my one complaint is though she doesn't come back. I expected her to come back at the end of the season.
She never does. I guess we'll have to wait until the next Netflix MCU series. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's we keep waiting for her to come back for the triumphant reunion between her and Luke, and it just doesn't happen this season. Sorry, Capers. But one thing that does happen is after their, I guess, breakup, Luke is out walking the streets. Bushmaster walks right up to him and knocks him the fuck out.
Goes Street Fighter on him.
It goes absolutely Street Fighting it. And because, it's 2018, everyone records the incident. And this means that Luke loses a bit of street cred. And this makes Tilda a bit suspicious. Because, like, hey, didn't I sell that guy some stuff? And he just goes up and knocks that superhero unconscious? Oh, this seems a bit suspicious. And it turns out that when he finally wakes up, Luke investigates this guy, Bushmaster, and the Jamaicans that come with him. And it turns out that they're not to be messed with, because Bushmaster, how can I put this gently? Chops fucking Nigel's face off. Like he's like digs his dagger right into his face, and it's
like whoa.
Yeah, it's it's intense. It's intense. And it turns out that the reason why he's doing all this is because of some either perceived or not quite so perceived wrongs committed against his I think it's his mother or his parents, and it's he's on the warpath. He's completely on the warpath, and Bushmaster ends up visiting Mariah, and he says, "Hey, so there's gonna be any peace with us because your Mama Murphy, or not Mama Murphy, that's a character from Fallout. Jeez, Mama Mabel did some shit, and that basically means that I'm coming for your head. Emphasis on head. That'll be something later. And it turns out he's come back to the great disappointment of his friend. Oh no, it was his uncle. It was his uncle. What was his uncle's name?
Anansi.
Anansi, yes, Anansi. And let me just break down every single conversation between a Bushmaster and Anansi. Hey, you're back. Yes, I'm back, and I'm going to exact revenge against the Stokes. Don't do that. I'm going to. 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 Every conversation. And it's like by the third time, guys, we get it. We get what the nature of their relationship is. And there's so few variations on it, and good characters, good chemistry, good performances again. But it's just like, change it up a bit, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's interesting is that when Bushmaster's with his family in the restaurant, he's like a normal guy, and as soon as he's out, it's like revenge.
Yeah, it's the characters flipping, and I don't know, but it doesn't change. It's annoying because these are good characters with interesting relationships, and it's just there's always something that a little tiny splinter that's just holding it back.
Yeah, exactly, because you don't see anyone else in Bushmaster's family apart from that guy whose name escapes me that he hangs out with all the time. None of them are like, let's get revenge on the family. Like, no, we're happy here.
Yeah, and
like,
it's
if there was more of a community, if there was more like a what's the word I'm looking for? A family sense of family all bonding together to get revenge and bring justice for the family, then it would made it a bit more interesting. But it's just him shouting revenge, and his uncle's like, "No, don't do it, man. Revenge is bad."
Hello, my name is John McIver. You killed my mother. Prepare to die.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, that is what it is. One relationship, however, that we will love forever is the relationship between Shades and his friend Comanche. Because you see, it turns out since season 1, Comanche has been, well, he's not a big fan of Mariah. He doesn't really approve of their relationship, and is also a snitch. He's reporting to Ridden Hour, and he's informing and everything. And if anyone finds out, he's gonna be in some hot water. And throughout all of this, the person who's been consoling Luke, the person who's been sticking by him, has been his friend Bobby Fish. He's now gone because he's going to visit this daughter that we've never heard out before, who's sick and needs an organ transplant in San Diego. So he's gone now. Great.
How nice. But why is he gone? Why is he gone? Come back.
I don't know. They need to just get rid of his character, make room for the new characters. Because
maybe it was done deliberately to remove Luke's anchors, I suppose, because Claire's gone, Bobby's gone. I suppose Misty still counts as one, but she's a bit more dubious and in her own ways.
And all he has now is DW.
And eventually that sugar guy.
And Sugar, yeah. But someone else he does have is everyone's favourite lawyer, Foggy Nelson! Yay! Oh, I'm so glad to see him again. And he's the one helping him out, and he comes up with ways for him to pay that $100,000 that he owes rather than going to court. And it turns out this broker called Raymond Piranha Jones. Now, he appears early in the season when he comes to Mariah and Shades and says, hey, there's this company, Aegis Plastics, they're going to go through some sort of merger thing, but the guy in charge of Aegis Plastics is trying to stop that from happening. So if you buy up all the stocks and undercut him and we get rid of him, you can make a mint and it's all legal, except for, the insider trading. And so that's what he said. But it turns out this guy, Piranha Jones, is a huge Luke Cage fanboy. And he basically hires Luke to attend this party, which also has a Ghostface Killer and just a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of stockbrokers just partying up and taking pictures with Luke. And Luke is not really happy about it, but
what other choice does he have?
He puts on a brave face right up until Piranha Jones says, hey, who wants to see me shoot Luke Cage for funsies? And Luke's like, no, because the bullet will ricochet off and it will hit someone. And Piranha Jones is like, come on, Luke, don't make me look like an arsehole. Oh shit, guys with guns! And while this is happening, Mariah is opening her Family First Center in Harlem, trying to convince her daughter, no, I'm a good person, I'm doing good things, and this is going to help a lot of people. And then they open it, and it turns out, there's a bunch of people with their heads on spikes, including Cockroach. And, oh, God.
A real headhunting party.
Real headhunting party. And it turns out that the people who did that are the same people that are attacking Piranha Jones' party, and they're trying to kidnap him. And so Luke manages to get him away, and he says, okay, you want to hire a hero? You're going to hire a hero! And I'm just sitting there thinking he said it. He said it. He said hero for hire. Yay.
Yeah. I was really tempted to start playing I Need a Hero when he did that.
I'm holding up a hero till the end of the night.
I like the version from Shrek 2 better though.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
I'm weird.
Okay, so I guess you prefer Jennifer Saunders over Bonnie Tyler then. Fine. Anyway, so Luke takes Piranha Jones and just tries to keep him safe. Just get it through Harlem with all the Jamaicans out there to try and get him. Meanwhile, it turns out that Mariah has a bit of a history with Ridenour. They maybe went out at one point and he dumped her or something. And it's a relationship that is fine for existing, but completely superfluous. It doesn't really change anything.
Although they do have the non so subtle, which I also fell for, hint that he actually might be Tilda's dad. Oh boy.
Yeah, I suppose they did have that, but I didn't really buy that for a second.
Well, I did, because he says, does she know who our real father is? Like, oh, he's the dad, okay. Then also they did that stupid twist.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were avoiding him saying, does she know that I'm her dad, maybe a thing that there was an obvious fake out.
I suppose, a bit too obvious.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's one of those things. You never really know how it's going to go down. And Luke takes Piranha to his dad's church for protection, and that's how they start to bond a bit and start to get the relationship on the right track. Meanwhile, Shades and Comanche go around trying to find this Piranha guy and get him back from Luke and get him safe. And it turns out that while they're in prison, they had a bit of a thing going on, and Comanche might still have a thing for him. And it's just like, I am down for this, because Shades is like, he's very stoic, and you can tell that he still feels something, but he's with Mariah, and he cares about Mariah, and he's just like, that was prison, this is out here, I don't feel that way. I don't. And it's just like, oh God, I never thought Luke Cage would make me care so much about these two characters that weren't main characters.
Yeah. It's sweet and sorrowful.
It's sweet and sorrowful. And, oh God, it gets worse. It gets worse because, turns out, well, it gets worse because Shades and Mariah figure out, hey, there's someone snitching. And they eventually figure out that it's Comanche. Snitching to Ridenour. Comanche kills Ridenour to try and cover his tracks, but Shades sees right through it and just shoots him, and it's heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking, and it's made worse by the fact that his relationship with Mariah is souring quickly. He's trying to be smart and clever, and she is not. And God, you can tell where it's going with them. But before we get to that, we have to talk about what happens between Cage and Bushmaster.
Bushmaster.
Because
they have a bridge fight.
They have a bridge fight because he says it's really cool though, because it's like a cowboy show, and he says, okay, you want Piranha Jones, fine, you can have him if you can beat me. If not, walk away. And Bushmaster was like, okay, fine, fair enough. They have an epic showdown until Bushmaster plays dirty and just blows some sand in his face. I don't know what it is, but it causes
paralyzing dust.
Magic paralyzing dust, and he pushes him into the river that this bridge is over, and it's a really cool scene. It's just a really cool scene. And Luke manages to shake up the paralysis, swim to the surface, goes back to the church. Whoop, he's gone. And his dad is like, sorry, he left. And I kept on wanting him to say, I just wanted to reach into the TV set and just say, hey, guy, that guy was wanted by criminal gangs and the police and all sorts of people, and you just let him go? You didn't try to stop him or convince him otherwise? Like, I know you're not exactly willing to hold someone hostage, but like, it was safest for him here. And I'm sure his dad would be like, oh no, he'll be fine or something like that. No, he's not fine, because he gets captured by the Jamaicans like immediately, and it gives them like all of Mariah and Shades' money before they kill him. So that death is on Lucas Sr.'s head.
Way to go, genius.
Yeah.
Man of God.
Yeah, way to fucking go. He's
like, hey, welcome in here. This is a place of sanctuary. But letting him leave? Oh, not my problem.
No, not my. He wanted to leave. He wanted to go. Oh, really? Well, he's dead now.
Where'd he go?
God, jeez, it's. I mean, Luke did kind of put him on the spot a bit, but he agreed to keep him here. He could have said no in the beginning, but he didn't.
Well, he just locked the doors.
Yeah, oh God, and Bushmaster then sort of takes over the Harlem Paradise nightclub. Cage manages to save Dillard and
Tilda,
and
but he burns the house down, doesn't he?
Yeah, he burns the house down, tries to. He ties Mariah down, but says like, "Hey, Tilda, if you want to leave, you can." She does not, and this is Mariah at a lowest point, and it is an interesting relationship between her and Luke, because she hates him and he helps her. She tries to reach out to him. She tries to push him back. It is an interesting dynamic between the two of them.
It's a table tennis match of emotions.
It is. It really is.
I hate to be the only person in Harlem I can trust.
Yeah, and so basically, it amounts to a whole bunch of characters being hunted by the Jamaicans, including Luke Cage, Mariah, Tilda, and Luke's dad
And Misty.
and Misty. And so basically, they all go to this Rand facility, like this off the books, not opened yet, Rand facility to hide out. And this is where we get into some real character development between Luke and his dad, between the dad and Mariah, and between Misty and Mariah, and between Mariah and her daughter. And it is revealed in the scene with Mariah and her daughter that she is the product of her Uncle Pete raping her, which we found out in season 1, and that Mama Mabel said no abortions, forced her to give her up to her cousins, the Johnsons, and that Tilda is basically a product of rape and incest, and that Mariah never loved her and doesn't care about her in the bit, doesn't really hate her as much, but every time she looks at her, sees the man who raped her's face, basically. And the acting in this scene is fucking superb.
Someone give this lady an Oscar.
Oscars, BAFTAs, Golden Globes, Emmys, Grammys, fucking everything. Give all the awards, both of them, because like Tilda breaking down and Mariah's sort of really calm indifference, just it's actually haunting.
Yeah.
It's
Just how hollow Mariah actually is. Because she claims to care about Harlem, but I think she's too broken up at heart to really care that much, because there's no love in her life.
yeah, it's not just great for the relationships and developing them, but also the characters. And I mean, I can't. This episode, the episode where they go to I think was probably the best episode of the show, because it had all the emotional stuff and really great performances, but also it had some action when Bushmaster's men catch up to them and just try and storm the place. And it's great. And Luke and Bushmaster have another showdown, and he kicks his ass. And it's just great. It's just great.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I admit, when they went to the Rand building, went, okay, Iron Fist is going to show up now, any second now. They didn't. They did the whole amazing character development. Went, okay, don't need Iron Fist now. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, no frills, nothing out of there. It's almost just in one place for the whole episode, almost, and it's just great. I keep saying that, but yeah, it's episode 9. For Pete's Sake, the episode is called. Directed by Clark Johnson, written by Matt Owens and Ian Stokes, and it's great. It's fucking great. But moving on. The next episode is when we get to see Iron Fist, because
Better late than never.
Better late than never.
Where have you been? They just stormed your building.
I think obviously they're going to keep him away because it's Luke Cage, not Iron Fist. Here's the thing though. Remember in Iron Fist when the character was shit and the performance was shit? I remember in Defenders when it was slightly better but still not that great. They fixed Iron Fist.
It worked.
The character is written much closer to how he is in the comics, much better, much more down to earth, and much more just funnier. Interesting, much funnier, and much less annoying. And the performance from Finn Jones is much better, and even the fighting, I think the little that we saw of it was pretty damn cool. So
I like it when I can't think, didn't he punch his fist off Luke Cage and it caused a big sonic boom?
Yeah, it caused a big seismic shock, and it's like it took like 2 fucking seasons of this character appearing in other things, but they finally fixed Iron Fist, and it gave me a little tiny shred of hope in my cold black obsidian heart for Iron Fist season 2.
I love the bits where he kept trying to explain who he was to everybody, and DW was just like, Iron Fist, I like that. I'll put down a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's
and Luke still doesn't believe that he fought a dragon.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The relationship between these two characters is great. They have the buddy-buddy relationship that was lacking from Defenders. They have the back and forth and they have the thing that made them such close friends in the comics. It works. It fucking worked at long friggin' last. And I'm just so happy. And it even makes sense. Like, I talked about the characters sort of changing on a flick of a switch, but here it makes sense due to the events of Defenders and Midland Circle and Daredevil dying, quotation marks. And so it makes sense. He's calmed down. Everything that's happened to him led him to this point where he's becoming more Iron Fist and less like which is all the sounds he made in season 1 of Iron Fist. That's everything he said. Every time he talked, every time he opened it, it was just like meh. That's all he did. And they fight together, and it's cool. And they talk together, it's cool. And he gives advice to Luke, which is interesting and makes sense. And we could gush all friggin' day.
I like when they meditate.
Yeah, and Luke just like opens one eye at him and is just like, "We still doing this, okay?" And it fucking works. I look forward to Iron Fist season 2 if they're still gonna do it. Do we know if they're still gonna do it?
I believe so. It's still on Wikipedia, and I know that Misty's gonna appear in it, so that's even better.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, great. Looking forward to that. He's only in it for 1 episode. I didn't expect anything more.
Oh, Turk's back as well.
Oh, we're gonna see Turk. Yes. Oh, good old Turk.
He's got a job now.
He's got a job now selling drug paraphernalia.
Okay, but it's not much of a job. But at least he's earning money, I suppose, the right way. Maybe.
Point is, we get to see Turk, and we love Turk.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least he got out of this one without being thrown into a dumpster again.
Basically, yeah. And it turns out one of the reasons why they team up is because they're investigating warehouses where the Jamaicans are attempting to grow this thing called Nightshade, which is the source of Bushmaster's power. But the Nightshade can only grow in Jamaica, so they're trying to recreate that thing, and they destroy it. And it also turns out that while this is going on, there's been a bounty placed on Luke's head, as well as a few other people. And a lot of people have been very tempted to collect it, including this character, Nandi, the new character that we mentioned, that everyone does everything in her power to try and make you hate her. But here's the thing, right before she got interested in this whole bounty thing, it seemed like actually she wasn't that bad of a character. But then she gets like dollar signs in her eyes. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take that. I'm going to sell Luke and Misty out. That's how Bushmaster's people were able to get to the Rand facility. And she goes missing, and they catch up with her, and she's just like, I turned you in for the money. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to arrest you. Oh, okay. Leg it. And I'm just saying that like, is she just seriously running? There are police officers everywhere. She's like in an open airfield. There's nowhere for her to run. She's not that stupid, is she? And it turns out, yes, she is. And later on in interrogation, there's a bit of a backstory. She and Misty Knight knew each other from way back when. And turns out they were on the same basketball team. And there was a girl who stole a phone. And she got her kicked out of the team because she stole a phone. But it turns out that actually she was told to steal the phone, and that Nandi was going after people's money, but she was just a trap because this other girl was like really, really good and the top scorer on the team. And she got kicked out so that the scouts who were in the crowd would pay more attention to her. And it's just like, okay, good story and all. I feel like this whole duplicitous nature of her could have been expanded on a bit more as the season went on. Because they didn't really get that. Did you?
Maybe a little bit, because I think early on when Nadia first appeared, everyone was like, oh, hey, Misty, hey, welcome back. We really missed you. And it cuts back to Nadia a couple of times, seeing her face. So I think there's an amount of jealousy there, because obviously she's a very, I wouldn't say narcissistic, but she's a very insecure person, like you said.
But then again, Misty does stuff that provokes that reaction. Like, I had that reaction to a lot of stuff that Misty was doing. Like, at one point in the series, Misty almost frames Cockroach for crimes just because he's beating his girlfriend, and she's not willing to go on the record with that. She doesn't do it, partially because she knows it's wrong, and partially because she finds his headless body. But there's still, like, I thought she was going to be like the one character that was going to call Misty out on the bullshit, and that was going to make Misty realize, oh, actually, yes, I have been doing things wrong with this time, and I need to tone things down or really evaluate myself. And it took you to do that, someone who I previously didn't like, so thank you. But no, it turns out this nanny person is just as bad as anyone else, and it informs Misty's behavior in a lot of ways, I think, and I'm not necessarily for the better.
Yeah, because until the revelation about the basketball thing, Nadia never really shows much of the whole petty wanna be better than everyone else kind of thing, does she?
Yeah, it's one of those things, characters, flick of a switch. But after she's arrested and everything's gone, she's never mentioned again, so who really cares? But one thing we do care about is Mariah goes on a bit of a revenge bender herself. So she's kidnapped Anansi. She's taking him back to the restaurant where all of Bushmaster's friends and civilians and other characters we've seen throughout the thing are. And she basically has everyone in the restaurant murdered and then burns Anansi alive to send a message to Bushmaster, which does not sit well with Shades.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, I kind of buy Shades' whole, actually, we're going one step too far thing. Because this is post him having to shoot Comanche. But at the same time, I kind of don't buy it. And I wish I bought it wholesale. I wish I bought it completely. But I feel like there needs to be a bit more developed to show how we got to this place. Because he's done horrible things before in the past. And yes, he's never killed innocent people as far as we can remember. But
what about Candace?
Oh yeah, Candace. Yeah, he shot fucking Candace. And, like... But so shooting one person in the street in the back of a head who's perfectly innocent, yes. But a whole restaurant full of people that are innocent, no. And I guess he's got his own moral code, but you can expand on that. It's just like the pieces are there. They're there. It's just they need to put them together in a way that actually works better.
Yeah, I think it kind of, there is a bit missing, but it extends back to the what happens when he told that idiot not to go shoot into the barbershop, because he's like, Pops is Switzerland, you don't go in there. Pops the centre of the community, you do that, we're all screwed.
Yeah, again, it comes back to this whole idea of, like, it's there. I want to make it clear, I didn't not buy it. I completely get where he's coming from. I just feel like I could get it a bit more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, the fact that also Sugar bells out as well, which I quite liked beforehand. It's like, dude, I'm not going in there and shooting tons of people.
Yeah.
So what I like is that the character is like slight difference. I think in the TV shows, particularly in Defenders, the villains are a bit more, have time to be, obviously it's 13 episodes per season, but you have more time to flesh them out, whilst in the movies, unless you're called Loki or Thanos or Killmonger, then you're kind of a bit one-dimensional.
Or Zemo.
Or Zemo.
Or the Vulture.
Or the Vulture. Anyone else? Never mind.
Okay, that's a discussion for another day. And then we get the backstory of Bushmaster. It turns out that when he was a kid, he survived. Was the only kid to survive a bad vaccination thing, which meant that people thought he was special. And his dad had a business deal with this guy Buggy Stokes, and they had a relationship, but that broke down in the 1980s, and they both killed each other. And Bushmaster's mum tried to sue the Stokes family, and in retaliation, Mama Mabel burned down their house in response, killing her. And Bushmaster survived, but then a bit while later, he was shot by Uncle Pete Stokes and was saved by Anansi due to him taking to this other person who gave him this concoction nightshade thing, which gave him his powers. And See, at this point in the present day, Bushmaster escaped police custody after the whole thing at the Rand facility due to blowing up the bus he was in, like the van he was in. And it's an annoying thing, though. It's an annoying thing because, like, what a way to get out. But at the same time, like, he's giving this speech about the man at the bottom of the hill, the man on top of the hill. And it reminded me way too much of the scene from Daredevil Season 1 with Kingpin.
Yeah, it did, because it's literally the exact same shot, the exact same position of the characters, the exact same speech. Like, wait a minute, we've seen this before. And then he gets out and then he escapes.
Yeah, and it's like if you're a police officer transporting a prisoner in a police van and they start giving a speech, your ass is grass.
Yeah, so get out of there.
Yeah. And
no, it doesn't say they survived. It just says no one died.
Oh, okay. Well, but even so, but he barely survives, and he goes to Tilda, who is able to. And she tries to help him because, due to everything that went down in the facility, she is really not a fan of her mum at this point. But she's telling him that, like, you really need to stop taking this stuff because it is killing you. And in return, he lets her go free. But Cage, meanwhile, managed to find Anansi's wife, Ingrid, Bushmaster's aunt, who did manage to survive and managed to get her to safety. And this is when Mariah,
to solve a problem like Mariah.
Well, she's decided to solve a few of her own problems by going off the deep end. She's selling drugs. She breaks up with Shades after they have a bit of an altercation, and he basically then goes to Night and says, Misty Knight, and says, "Okay, I am snitching the hell. Call me Mr. Snitchery-Roo and give me a little hat." It's
And rather shockingly, it turns out that his representative is Candace's mother.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
like what?
Wait, was Candace's mother?
I think it was someone related. I think it was
someone died in. I think she died in season 2 with when Tone shot up the Pop's barbershop.
Was it? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. We could have rewatched Luke Cage season 1 to prepare for this, but we didn't because here on PodCapers we are professional. But he basically blows the lid on everything, and meanwhile Mariah is basically communicated with a bunch of other gang leaders, promising to get rid of the Jamaicans and just basically control crime in New York, or at least in Harlem. And Bushmaster and Luke team up to shut down these drugs where they've been produced, and they
last about 5 minutes.
They last about 5 minutes. Here's the problem: this is the point where Bushmaster starts to become really irrelevant. Because he's great at setting up this whole thing and sending Mariah down this course. But Mariah is now the main antagonist. She's now the main antagonist, so we don't really need Bushmaster anymore. And he does have a bit of an extra bump in terms of relevance when Tilda tells him how to secretly get into the club and gives him a bit of Nightshade concoction mix to give him a final boost of strength to take him down. And meanwhile, Shades is there to try and get the gun that Mariah used to kill Anansi. And they have a big fight there between Bushmaster and Shades and Mariah and Luke, and it's all there. And this leads to Bushmaster getting away and Mariah being arrested. Only again, but this time it sticks with Shades' testimony. He gets a deal, he gets immunity, he gets to walk. Thanks to Shades' testimony, Mariah goes to prison. Hallelujah, at fucking last. But it does mean, however, that the other gang leaders go to war in the streets of Harlem. It is carnage and chaos.
People are rioting in the streets.
Yeah, and okay, so we're focusing on Mariah for a second. She's in prison. She gets about to get confronted. She gets confronted by this other person who's in prison, and who...
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, who's like... This random person pops up out of nowhere and says, "Hey, okay, so I just..." Wait, no, wait. No, no, there were two other people. I'm trying to remember now. There are two other people who are about to shiv Mariah. This other person comes up with her two cronies and slashes their throats and says, okay, you know what? I saved your ass, so you're going to work for me now. Mariah's like, okay, that's fine. I can work for you. But one favor, could you hand me that sharp object, please? And this other person is like, oh, yeah, sure. I can't see what you could possibly do with. Like she says that she's going to carve her name into the dead person, into one of the dead people. But it's like, maybe get one of your flunkies to hand her the sharp object while you back away. Because, like, she gets right up close to her. She hands her, like, the shiv thing, and Mariah immediately slashes her throat. Like, you're not a bright person, are you? Jeez. And she basically goes up to these other two people and says, okay, now you work for me, and I'm going to pay you. And
that doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere. And
I half expected her to meet the Kingpin.
I expected that as well, but I doubt they were... if they can only... get like Iron Fist in for one episode, between that and getting Vincent D'Onofrio and getting him to shave his head and everything again, like maybe not, but I could live without it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and but that's just because she's in a woman's prison though as well.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, and she gets the lawyer in and basically says, okay, so I can't leave anything to chance, so you're going to go out and give the word, you're going to kill Shades, you're going to kill everyone who worked at the Harlem Paradise, including my sort of PA, Alex, whom we all like, because he's one of the few like halfway nice characters, and he gets murdered, everyone gets murdered, Shades manages to avoid getting murdered.
Wait, Alex got murdered? I thought he got out of there scot-free.
No, because there's a screaming lady in the street over his dead body who says, Alex! They killed Alex! Oh my god, they killed Alex! There was a bit of a hint for me.
Oh, okay, I must have forgot about that part, okay.
You forgot about the part where we see Alex's dead body and we hear the woman screaming about Alex.
I can't remember the whole thing.
Jeez, man, come on. Anyway, and this leads Tilda to... she goes into a shop and she concocts a red mixture. Next scene, we see her wearing red lipstick whilst meeting Mariah in prison. I wonder what could happen. I wonder what she did. And then, so basically I'm just thinking, like, I've seen that first episode of Torchwood. I know what she's going to do. That's the episode of season 1 of Torchwood. And,
I was going, oh!
Yeah, so obviously, she's going to kiss Mariah and poison her. And that's exactly what she does. And Luke Cage goes to visit her later, and Mariah dies in his arms whilst coughing up blood. And that's the end of Mariah. And, yeah.
Way to go.
What a way to go to a character that was kind of all over the place, but wherever she was, it was always really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It brings an end to the Stokes legacy.
Or does it? But going back to Luke, Shades approaches Luke and basically says, hey, you know what? Maybe you could be the guy to take over. Because I can't take over anymore because everyone knows I'm a snitch. I am out of the biz. I am done as a gangster. But you could make some moves. And Luke then has thought, actually, maybe this guy's got a point. And what he does is he goes to like one of the Italian bosses and says to
Rosalie
Carbone, a character from the Carbone, I don't know, from another character from the comics, and he says to her, okay, right, so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna stay out of Harlem. You want to do criminal empire stuff? That's fine, but you can't go above these streets. You can't go below these streets. Harlem is Switzerland. And they agree, and he has to negotiate and be a diplomat with all these criminal people. But the idea is solid, and it works. The criminals, for the most part, at least the organised ones, the big ones, are staying out of Harlem. It's a great idea, and it shows that Luke is using his brain, not just his fists. And yet everyone accuses him of being like the next Hitler, or the next Al Capone or something, and says, "Oh, you're becoming another crime boss, and what you're doing is wrong." And it's just
He's
like,
become the Godfather.
you become the Godfather, and it's like he's keeping them out of Harlem. He's not accepting payment for this. He's not got criminals working for him. Why is this being portrayed like, oh, he's lost his soul, or he's becoming another Godfather? It's another kingpin. I feel like maybe if they were paying him or something like that, they could show that he has actually fallen, that he has actually become another criminal. But no, he hasn't. Everything he's doing is keeping criminals out of Harlem, and he's making everyone's lives better just by this. Maybe it will backfire, maybe it will corrupt him, but right now, everything seems fine. And it also leads to this thing where it turns out Mariah altered her will. She left Tilda a keyboard that she and Cottonmouth both loved, and she left Harlem's Paradise, the nightclub, to Luke. And
Ouch.
here's the thing though. Tilda looks really angry about this, and she's sort of set up to be like the next antagonist of season 3. But here's the thing: why would she care? Why would she want this? She stands over Mariah's body, says, "Okay, cremate her, do what you want with the ashes. I don't care." And the other person is like, "I'm sorry, Miss Stokes." And it's like, "I'm not Stokes. I'm Johnson. I'm not a Stokes." And it's like, okay, she's putting her family's criminal thing behind her, only she's not. Like, why does she care about that place?
Well, she might. She might not be. It just might be like she got mad that her mum pretty much just gave her the finger in death as she did in life. So that might just be it.
Maybe, but she didn't like her mum, so I feel like there's something missing here. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
And it leads to Luke starting the club back up and wearing like a nice suit in the office and getting his own picture plate put in place of the various portraits and pictures that have gone through there.
Yeah, because Cottonmouth has is it the Notorious B.I.G.?
Biggie Smalls, I believe so. Yes, and then Mariah had her own picture there, and then when Bushmaster briefly took it over, he had his own picture, and then Biggie Smalls got put back, and now they've got a picture of Mike Tyson, and so they're really over.
It's not Mike Tyson. It's Muhammad Ali.
Sorry, Muhammad Ali.
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. Why don't you...
It's Muhammad Ali.
It is Muhammad Ali.
The greatest boxer, sportsman in the world.
Okay, I don't know sport. I don't know these people.
Neither do I. Even I don't know who Muhammad Ali is.
I know who Muhammad Ali is, but I don't know him by his face. I don't even know Mike Tyson by his face.
No, but he knows people by their ears.
What?
People will get that joke.
What does that mean?
He bit a guy's ear off once. That's probably what he's most famous for.
He did? Oh, so I don't even know that. Muhammad Ali bit a guy's ear off.
No, Mike Tyson did.
Oh, I'm so confused.
Never mind. Anyway,
the point is they are overdoing it with the symbolism in that office with those paintings.
Yeah, someone should just paint on the wall. No more symbolism.
Yeah, we get it.
Like paint a nice mural or something.
Yeah, and they always frame it like whenever there's a picture with a crown, they have a frame so like the person's in the foreground, the crown's in the background, just over their head. It's just like we get it. And then Misty shows up looking very nice in a dress with a bionic arm, and says to him like, "Okay, if you slip up, I'm coming for you." And he's like, "I'm not going to slip up. It's going to be fine, and you're going to do your job as a police officer, and it's going to be great." Being really reasonable while everyone else isn't. And then this thing happens where, for some reason, which I cannot fathom, they recreate that final scene from the first Godfather movie,
which is very both interesting and unusual. Like, okay, what's going on here then?
It's so on the nose though, and it's actually kind of cheap. When I saw that, I was like, "Come on, really?"
Yeah. But he's not. Yeah, because if what's his name, Michael, you and I both watched The Godfather in our second year of university, so we had that kind of affable liking for it. It's like,
I mean, I love The Godfather. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like, if you don't recreate it in this weird. It's basically parody, is what it is.
Yeah, it's because a good Godfather parody is at the start of Rugrats in Paris. This feels more like a what in context, it doesn't make much sense because Luke Cage, sure, he's got control of the nightclub now, but he's pretty much rescued Harlem from crimes. Like, why are we now treating him like he's gonna turn into Don Corleone here?
Yeah, because it not even doesn't even work as a parody.
No,
It
because he's
doesn't.
Luke Cage.
Yeah, it doesn't work, and that's followed by someone, I think it was Sugar actually, coming up to Luke and say, "Hey, she's here. What should I tell her?" And he's like, "Tell Claire to go home." And it's like, "Oh, I guess we couldn't get Rosario Dawson in for the final episode because
Yeah,
we don't see her."
because what I thought was going to happen was, okay, Mariah's dead, everything's taken care of. Luke's going to now go and find Claire, and they're going to make up, and it's an off-screen appearance. What the hell?
Yeah, and Misty's there in the club. Tilda's there in the club, looking a lot more like a comic book counterpart. In the comic book, she's a villain known as Nightshade, or like Dr. Nightshade, I don't know. And yeah, it just sort of ends on this note, like, "Oh my God, Luke, you've fallen so far." Except has he? And
Not really.
not really. And but
The-
I'm
the
sure, I'm
problem
sure,
is-
I'm sure they'll expand this in future. Maybe he will fall far. It's an interesting idea. That's the thing.
but-
But the pieces again aren't fucking there.
Yeah, but like I agree because, like you say,
Oh no, so
everyone's like,
they are there. Sorry, they are there, but they're not utilized properly.
yeah, and I agree because again, the fact that everyone seems to be like, no, you can't turn to the dark side. You know that if they bring in other characters from the other seat, from like Iron Fist and Jessica, they're all gonna probably do the exact same thing. And I say, why you do it? Why are you now in charge? Why are you apparently evil?
Yeah, what would have been far more effective if it's everyone fucking agreed with him and said, "You know what, actually, yeah, this is going to be really good." And he's like, "Yeah, I think this is really going to be good." And it's like, as long as you don't become another criminal, like, I think this is going to work. And he's like, "I wouldn't do that." And it could be a subtle, ominous final note, like, things seem to be going well. But are they really? And when you have every single other character pointing out that things are going to go wrong, it's so obvious.
Yes, exactly. And because that again, as I said before, Claire's gone, Bobby's gone, Misty's kind of a middle ground thing. Has this been done deliberately to apparently make him into this more ambiguous figure? But the problem is he's Luke Cage. He's done, in a manner of speaking, the right thing. So what exactly are they trying to do with his character?
It's God. It's just. It's annoying. It's more annoying than if it was just bad, because it's not bad. It's not. It's just not fully formed, and that's, I think, what the great thing. That's, I think, what this whole season 2 thing is. It's good, but it's not fully formed. It's an unfinished clay pot that needs to perhaps not have gone into the kiln so soon.
Interesting metaphor or allegory, or whatever you're implying.
Possibly, yeah, I don't know. And so, I mean, what did you think of this season on a whole?
Well, admittedly, I seem to have a problem with the second seasons because I feel they're not as good as the first ones. Because
Yeah.
it may just be me, but have you noticed that at the end of each second season, Daredevil has lost all his key friends, Jessica Jones has lost all of her key friends, and now Luke has kind of lost all of his key friends. Is the same thing going to happen to Iron Fist?
What friends does Iron Fist have? He's got Colleen winning, and that's it.
Okay, I suppose the Meachums don't count.
Oh yeah, well, one of them at least doesn't. But you're right. You're right. This is a pattern, and
Because they're not doing a second season of Defenders, are they?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because it says it's on Netflix. It's referred to as a limited series, so I don't know if they're going to do a sequel or not. But I feel like they need to in order to get everyone back together and do the same thing they did with Defenders, which is gives everyone a new path to take, I suppose.
Possibly. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, here's the thing. I think the future is bright because I mean, for the Netflix MCU things, because none of these shows, with the exception of Iron Fist season 1, have been bad, and they're clearly fixing Iron Fist. So it's one of those things where you. Okay, let me put it this way. Luke Cage season 2 is worth watching. It's a lot of fun. It's very interesting. The characters, the performances, the relationships, the dynamics, the themes, they're all good. There's just always something, a tiny thing, that's gumming up the works just a little bit. It is not enough to ruin it. I had immense fun watching this show. But it is enough just to notice in the back of your mind. And
But I wonder if it's because they have 13 episodes. I always thought that maybe make it like 8 or 10, because I thought it worked quite well for the Defenders. Is it because it's too length of time to stretch things out?
maybe, or maybe it's just because that's the formula Netflix is going with, and that's what they prefer towards themselves. I don't know, like a formula for binging or something. I don't know. Whatever reason,
Maybe.
because like the first season was criticized for having some pacing issues. Other people have criticized this season for having pacing issues, and that's happened with a few of the other ones as well. So maybe it is a problem. Maybe they should consider. I would say 12. Like 12 is enough.
12, 8, 10.
Doctor Who gets 12 episodes a season.
But no, he gets 13 actually.
Oh, okay. Well, okay then. But I swear he got 12. But you could easily do a 12-season series.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it sort of ends on this note of, like, it's good, but it could be better. It's got like an 84% on Rotten Tomatoes so far. I think that's perfectly reasonable. It could be better. It could be a lot worse. It's worth your time.
Exactly.
Do you have anything else you really want to say about this season, or the characters, or the performances, or anything?
Well, Bushmaster's end was kind of anticlimactic.
Oh yeah, he just fucks off back to Jamaica. That's what he does. It's like
And then that bloke randomly walks into the barber shop and says, "Harlem is safe and yours for now." He just walks out again.
Yeah, and DW.
Okay, right, fine, bye.
DW says that he's restarting Pop's Barbershop, and that's going to be Switzerland as well, and there are going to be no gang talk in the building, which is fine because like the whole of Harlem is now basically
Switzerland.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, and it sort of ends on this not a disappointing note, but not as fulfilling as it could have been. Do you know what it is? It's like Chinese food. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly decent. It's perfectly tasty. But you might always be wanting something a little bit more afterwards.
I don't know, I get pretty full up eating Chinese food, that's just me.
Maybe that's just me.
I've completely destroyed your allegory, metaphor, whatever it is.
Possibly, yes, but I like to think it was rather eloquent, no?
Yeah, very light, very nice.
Yeah, very good.
It's wonderful stuff. It's very lovely.
yes. Brought a tear to your eye, I'm sure. And I don't think there's really much more we can say about it. There's one thing we can say about it. One thing to say, Lucy Liu directed the first episode.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah, and it was a good first episode.
Actually, no, I have one more thing to say about it. Where does all of this fit into the Infinity Wars box?
Yes, this is a good question, because...
where is it?
I can only assume that it takes place before Infinity War, because I think if half the population of New York, and indeed the whole world, and indeed the whole universe, had disappeared and faded into nothing, people would bring that up. There's no way all these returning characters could have returned without at least one of them having beaten the dust.
Yeah, because obviously Defenders is in its own bubble, I suppose. Because
well, it's not in its own bubble. It's part of the MCU. They reference.
You know what I mean? It's in its own corner, and we don't see the bigger stuff apart from partially mentioned.
No, exactly. But this is something that affects everyone, and so I can only assume that. I'm just going to assume, unless we hear otherwise, that everything that is released by Marvel up until Infinity War Part 2 happens before Infinity War Part 1. I don't know what's happening with Ant-Man and Wasp, because again, we're not gonna fucking get that until later.
When are we getting that?
I can't remember. Soon, hopefully. I
think it's in less than a month.
Must be, but I don't know. But we'll find out. But the point is, in the meanwhile, we've got Luke Cage Season 2 to tide us over. And I know we have criticised this season quite a bit, but again, it is worth your time. It is worth it. I would quite happily watch this again in the future at some point. There's stuff wrong with it, there really is, but it's never enough to ruin it. Because Luke Cage, you can't ruin him. You can't ruin him because he's bulletproof.
You can't break him.
Indeed. And on that note, I think we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Mark, for joining me today.
Always a pleasure.
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like our Iron Fist episode or our Defenders episode, there's a whole bunch. And you can listen to on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, or at PodCapers.com. We have a Patreon, check out the rewards, patreon.com/AP2HYC. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show itself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers@ap2hyc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for the logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine, and thank you for listening. This has been PodCapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. Cue the music!